Hi, I'm Halsey Spruance with the Delaware Museum of Natural History.
Hi, I'm Ron Logue with Wilmington Trust, the premier provider of wealth management and institutional services, part of M&T Bank. I'm also a trustee and chair of the Wine and Dinosaurs Committee at the Delaware Museum of Natural History.
Since 2007, Wine and Dinosaurs has been one of the finest annual fundraising events in our community. What better way to spend a relaxing fall afternoon than tasting wine and beers selected by the Wine and Spirit Company of Greenville and delectable dishes prepared by Toscana Catering. And on top of that, all the proceeds for Wine and Dinosaurs benefit the museum's nature and science education programs.
Unfortunately, the coronavirus has forced us to cancel this year's event. We felt that it would be impossible to hold an event that lived up to our high standards. That being said, we can't thank you enough for your support throughout the years.
In its place, this year we're producing a series of videos called Distance Dinosaurs that turn the spotlight back on the many supporters that have made Wine and Dinosaurs the great event that it is. Without a doubt, M&T Bank deserves big recognition. For the past 12 years, M&T has been the presenting sponsor of Wine and Dinosaurs, and we couldn't have asked for a better partner. Today we're joined by M&T Bank Regional President Nick Lambrow. Nick, first and foremost, thank you for all of your support of the museum. So thanks to M&T and all of your colleagues.
Thanks to you, Halsey, and your whole staff for all you do to support science and nature education for our community. The museum means a lot to us in the community, so thank you for all you do.
So Nick, can you tell us how the COVID pandemic has impacted M&T Bank?
Well, I would classify it as transformational. But first and foremost, the safety and health of our employees, our clients, and the community was first and foremost. But one of the things I realized, we had a pre-planned pandemic plan. And literally in 1 week, we were able to convert 90% of our workforce to be able to work from home with our technology. So that was very transformational on how our colleagues spoke with each other and how we spoke to our clients and connected with our clients. We also had to adapt in our branches so we would be open for the community and for our clients. So we had to do a lot of modifications very quickly. But it was really a rally cry for everybody. I was very impressed with how everybody came together and how well we connected as a company to each other as well as to the community.
So Nick, M&T does so much for the nonprofit communities in all of the markets that the bank serves. How have you been able to stay in touch and connect with those different institutions during the pandemic and with the support going forward?
Yeah, as you mentioned, that's very important to us, and it's something that, if I was to focus in on a couple things, supporting the community and also supporting it from a business standpoint is very important to us. So as far as the community, our charitable committee acted very quickly to help out some of the COVID needs that we saw, both in terms of shelter, food, and medical care. So our group got together and we made sure that we got $150,000 out as quick as we could to the community to help support it in its time of need. We also did a lot of outreach to the community, to the not-for-profit sector with our virtual connectivity at the time. We did a lot of seminars to help people get through these times. So we felt very connected. Our volunteerism never stopped. We still did our Meals on Wheels, so everybody wanted to pitch in. So we continued our connectivity through our board participation and our volunteerism. The other interesting thing that I said from the business standpoint, which I'm very proud of, the Payment Protection Plan, the PPP, we were able to get $347 million back to the Delaware community, which represented over 38,000 jobs. And that was a true team effort for M&T team in Delaware, but I can speak bank-wide. We put $7 billion out in the market, which was a significant achievement to get done in that small period of time. So we were very focused on making sure the community got the dollars they needed to sustain their businesses.
Since the pandemic started, what have you missed most in the new normal?
I would say family and friends, just being able to interact with them like I normally would. There's been a lot of virtual connectivity, which has been very positive. And I can tell you with a lot of my employees and customers, I see more people now than I ever did before in their home setting. So I think I'm seeing everybody's dogs, artwork, and everything else, but it's been an interesting experience. But I think if I was to put the top of the list, just the normal interactivity that I would have with family and friends. And the only thing I don't miss or didn't miss is golfing. So if I was a really good golfer, I'd probably miss it. So thank God I'm not a good golfer.
Okay. And then one last question for you, because we're a science museum. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Without a doubt, the biggest menace on land and sea, the Spinosaurus. He was the biggest creature at that time, I think 50 feet long, and was able to live in water and land, and it kind of ruled its day. So that's my top pick.
If I can throw one more question at you, since we normally do Wine and Dinosaurs, and it's an event where we have wine and spirits and beer. What's your favorite beer?
I do like the Dogfish Slightly Mighty.
Okay.
Or Mighty Slight, but it's a great IPA. It's 95 calories, and it tastes good and reasonably priced.
And it's a Delaware beer.
It's a Delaware beer.
Right.
Tell me what's new at the museum.
Well, Nick, we've got some big news. It's an exciting time at the museum. We've just embarked on our most significant and ambitious capital campaign since the museum opened in 1972 to the public. Our goal is a complete reinvention of metamorphosis to meet the need for a regional leader in nature and science education. Even our name is going to change to the Delaware Museum of Nature and Science.
Thanks, Nick, for joining us on this episode of Distance Dinosaurs. And thank you to everyone out there for joining us today. May we be able to get together sometime very soon and raise a glass together.